Hello everybody and welcome to your final update for the 2025 excavation season. We have reached the end of the season. One thing that I can say for sure is that in 10 years and 3 quadrants, I have never seen so many rocks. All of this will need consolidation at the end of the project in 2028, and that's going to be a hefty bill. So hopefully you guys will be able to continue following us and supporting us in getting this together, ready to open to the public. In the meanwhile, let's talk about the stuff that period 8, the last period of Vindolanda, got through. Let's talk a little bit about the things that we've uncovered. We're starting with the stuff right behind me, which is the 3rd century infantry barrack. You can see a long north-south oriented wall and 7 separate rooms. The first 2 rooms to the south had been previously excavated by Professor Eric Burley. Unfortunately, those 2 trenches had not been published. So we've re-excavated them and we've discovered a little bit more about the social history of archaeology at the site. What we also have is the rest of the barrack, pretty much. We are just now finishing the excavation of room number 7. There should be room number 8 right behind me, the 8th contubernia, and then in the section over there you should see the wall of the Centurion's apartment. So we had some really interesting stuff from these 7th rooms so far. We've got lots of walls, the partition walls separating the rooms from one another, and each room has got a door in it. Most of the doors are in the southern part of the room, except for one that's been moved to the northern part of the room during its occupation. Most of the rooms are floored multiple times, and in some of the rooms we've already reached the Antonine levels of occupation, the foundation that supports the 3rd century floors. So what is the plan for this area? Well, we've got to finish excavating room number 7 and room number 8, and then we'd love to push that way and uncover the Centurion's apartment that is still under the grass, waiting to be revealed. Once we've done that and obtained a nice complete plan of this 3rd century barrack, we'd like to go back to room number 3, the first to not have been excavated by Professor Eric Burley, and go down a little bit more in the foundations of it and uncover the Severan and Antonine period, so between 160 and 211 AD. So for ease of reference in our reporting cycle and talking about the different structures that we've uncovered in this quadrant, we've numbered the buildings. So this one that I'm standing in is building 7. This has been one of the highlights of the season for me. We've worked really closely with Dr. Vanessa Reid from Edinburgh University as part of a project called Residues of Life. And we've completely excavated this building and laid out a really tight sampling grid of 40 centimeters on each of the rooms of the building. So this has really given us an opportunity to look into these very mysterious east-west oriented 4th century buildings that look nothing like your traditional chalet barracks that we can see in the other quadrant of the fort, and they also look nothing like the traditional cavalry barracks, which we can see in the opposing quadrant to this one, the southeastern one. So it's quite interesting. They're unique in the landscape of Vindolanda, and it's been really great to collect that granular level of data and really be able to study what was happening here. So that's one to watch for the research outcomes coming out in the next few months and few years, and will be really good to provide context for similar buildings either side of this one. Another highlight of this season has been the excavation of the Intervallum Road. In fact, when I look at this quadrant, I think that the western side is nice, normal, lovely infantry barrack. The eastern side is also nice, normal, rampart material and lovely workshops. And the middle is this kind of strange concoction of 4th century buildings that are quite hard to place and have quite a complex life. So we've done an awful lot in here, and one of the most interesting things that you can observe as you follow me through this journey is the different levels of the road that we've got here. So right behind me we've got a lovely furnace nice big round furnace with really lots of layers of concreted floor and lots of evidence for smelting metal. So that's one feature. And as you come across and through time, really, you move from the 4th century road, step down into the 3rd century road, and this continues to be quite a productive space. So throughout the 3rd and 4th century, it looks like the ramparts and the Intervallum Road in this quadrant were dedicated to metalworking, and people would bring their metal to the rampart furnaces to be recycled. And then as you come back this way, there's yet another furnace just over there, bolted onto this really large building. So lots of work has been going on here. We've been cleaning up this road going that way, and we've been cleaning up the furnaces over there and collecting all of the evidence from the 3rd and 4th century workshops that are in this area. What is important to note as well is that the roads here in this quadrant are the biggest spaces without buildings, so they're the most likely spaces for the investigation of anaerobic materials later in the project. So obviously, as we excavate, we also open spaces that are ripe to kind of have a keyhole down into the earlier forts here at Vindolanda. So continuing north on the Intervallum Road, what we found out this period is that the distinction between the Intervallum Road and the Rampart Mound is really clear. So you've clearly got the bend of the pebbled road right behind me. And then at some point the road disappears under a big clay bank right behind my shoulders. We've also continued the excavation of the 2 rectangular buildings and 1 centurion's apartment that were previously exposed in 1980. And we've almost gotten there. So you can see right next to me this little wall over here. Looking at the plans for the excavation, this is an internal partition wall, and the back wall of this centurion's apartment is just a few centimeters away, probably here. So I can almost see the future and see what it is that we will find in period 1. 2026 excavation season, and that is the back wall for this building, finally. It's been a bit of an unfair fight against the sand and the plastic and the backfill, but we are winning it. We have got almost all of it out. We've got one last patch to take out to uncover the eastern part of the rectangular buildings and the 2nd centurion apartment that is supposed to be in this area under the grass beyond the wheelbarrows. So we're almost there. There's one final effort, then we will have our much wished for, much worked for 3rd and 4th century complete floor plan. So that's a great result for the 2025 excavation season going into 2026, that we're so close to answering one of our research questions. We've had a few really good finds this season, a few fantastic highlights, but I can't tell you too much because it is up to the curator to choose which ones will make next year's recent finds case. As a last parting message before we see each other again in 2026, I'd like to thank very much everybody who's been involved in this project. The Vindolanda Trust relies on an incredible communities of volunteers, visitors, friends, supporters, researchers from all over the world. So our thanks go first and foremost to the volunteers who have helped us achieve all of this, all of the stuff that you've seen in the YouTube videos. And then they go to the field schools here at the Vindolanda Trust. We had the Western Ontario Field School and Saxion University Field School, to the post-excavation teams who ensure that all of the material that we pull out of the ground is cleaned and categorized correctly, to the specialists who look at the coins, who look at the pottery, who look at the bones, who look at the environmental evidence, to the people at Historic England and English Heritage who advise on our scheduled monument consents, to our colleagues who've visit us very frequently and offer their opinions and have really good exchanges that really enrich the way in which we can interpret the site. And to all of you online looking at this video and thinking, maybe I will visit Vindolanda just to see what's happening over there. Please stay up to date with what we're up to. Sign up to our newsletter. It's at the bottom of our website and you'll receive all of the update. And believe it or not, we will have our next opening for volunteering both at Vindolanda and at Roman Magna. So before you know it, we will be back right here taking this grass together with you guys.